report. It's a report on joint and several liability reform, which has now been properly added to the council agenda, and that was moved and seconded and approved. We then dealt with conflicts of interest. There were none. We are now, then we dealt with the in-camera, we recessed, and we are now here at reopening the meeting for the part of the agenda identified as item C, which is minutes of the regular meeting. Just before we do, I'd like to do a shout out to our national Canadian team who are over in Sochi. As you know, Canada is leading in medals. It's a fantastic count as we go forward, and on behalf of all the people of Brampton, we extend our Go Canada, Go best wishes. As you know, there are people competing in the Olympics who are from Brampton, and of course our very own Brampton Thunder women's hockey player Jana Hefford was instrumental in the Team Canada win yesterday, 3-0 over Finland. And I've just learned that Team Canada and Team USA had a match this morning. Team Canada beat Team USA 3-2. So we are 4-0. That's pretty good. Then, of course, something arrives in my office. Just have a look at that. I don't know where the cameras are because they're sort of, maybe it's this one. There you go. This is a gold covered Coca-Cola bottle. As you know, Coca-Cola, who has a large facility here in Brampton, is a proud sponsor of our national team. And I wonder if I could just read this letter that comes from the president of Coca-Cola. It says, "Dear Mayor, Canadians coast to coast are celebrating our country's first gold medal at the 2014 Olympic Winter Games after Justine Dufour-Lapointe incredible freestyle skiing women's moguls performance. To celebrate this great achievement and the incredible effort of all Canada's Olympic athletes, please find enclosed one of 500 limited edition gold Coca-Cola bottles, as well as a pair of official Team Canada mitts. Those will keep me warm in this cold weather. In the spirit of the Olympic Games, we are encouraging all Canadians to get up and get active. Join us on Twitter using the hashtag #Inspired2 hashtag and show how you, your family, and friends are inspired by our Olympians to get active and see what others are doing." So this has come in from, Nicola Ketlitz, who's the president of Coca-Cola Limited, and John Gurnino, who is the president of Coca-Cola Refreshments. This one of 500 is autographed by Patrick Chan. So we'll put that in our special case. I imagine they have other Olympians. Oh, and there's somebody on the back, number 91. It's got to be a hockey player. They have numbers. So isn't that pretty special? Just came in a short time ago. So we're, is that John Tavares? It doesn't look like that's the name, so it may be another sport, but it's pretty exciting to be watching the Olympics in Sochi. I phoned a friend of mine on Sunday morning that I attended the Olympics in 2010, and they were there in Sochi, and I had the fun of being momentarily connected when Team Canada scored. Megan Augusta put the puck in the net when it was a 0-0 game. The phone was so loud, but he's there, I'm here, and I know we all wish we were there, but we do wish all of our athletes all the best. So let's keep watching, and let's let them know that Brampton's with them. Remember the hashtag #Inspired2, and then you fill in whatever you want when you're sending out a tweet for those who tweet. Councillor Sanderson, did you want to speak?
Yes, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to bring to your attention, and I talked to the clerk earlier on, but under item under item E, it should read 16 John Street, not 6 John Street.
Thank you. Noted. Council will now go to the motion to receive the, that's this one. Thank you. The minutes of the regular council meeting of January 29 be approved as printed and circulated. All those in favor? Thank you. That is carried. Consent agenda. Are there any items to be added in or extracted from the consent agenda? Seeing none, it has been moved and seconded. Councillor Moore and Councillor Gibson. All those in favor? Thank you. That is carried. announcements. Council, we have two announcements. The first announcement, International United Nations Dubai Award for Best Practices went to a local company, to a local project. I'd like to invite Mr. John D'Angelo of Martin Way Contracting to come forward and tell him about this remarkable achievement of yours and all of your partners, and thank you for bringing this to the city of Brampton with your creativity. Council, I would ask that we extend the time. Announcements are 2 minutes. They have brought a 12-minute video, so I'll move it, seconded by Councillor Pleshy. All in favor? You can flow right into your video now. Welcome.
To tell you that long ago we went to our own Olympics, which is the Affordable Housing Olympics in Dubai, which is one of 4 major international awards for achievements in building and in helping people improve their lives. The award, we brought back gold too, by the way. It's right there, sitting there, 2.5 kilograms of fake gold, but one of 12 awards that were handed out.
Well, we're pretty
to
good
12
at bringing
different
home the
countries.
gold. I like
We had almost 100 countries participate. We had over 400 applications, and it's a 2-year cycle, so it's how long it takes them to get through all the applications. And we thought that as a result of winning this award, that it would be really nice to share it with you, because all of you have had an impact on this award and on this project moving forward. Without your support, your consents for allow us to move forward and to do what we're doing, we would never be in this position to be able to to win an award. In addition to that, I'd like to thank all of our sponsors on this particular award, which raised over $3 million in corporate sponsors to allow us to be able to build a building that brought us to this point as being one of the pinnacle buildings worldwide. So from an affordable housing Olympics, if you want to call it that, we'd like to say that Brampton is on the map worldwide. And before we start, I just want to ask Mauro just to tell you a little bit about the award itself, and so you have an idea of what it is if you have a chance to see it.
What that trophy represents is it's a ancient Persian wind tower, which so what that trophy represents is it's an ancient Persian wind tower. It provides natural ventilation into old buildings, and that's what they've chosen as their trophy piece.
So what the government of Dubai has done during the presentations, so all of the countries that were there that were winners that were represented, they produced a professional video, and it's a great video that we can all use to not only promote the project but promote Brampton in general. But not only that, the important thing about the video is that when you look at the John Street project in comparison to a lot of other things that have happened and a lot of other projects worldwide, you really begin to have a sense of the importance of that project on an international basis. So if we can see this video, I think you'll really enjoy it, and I'm glad that we can show it. Okay, go ahead. We have one more thing. You each have.
Yeah, what you'll find in your little bags there, sorry, there's no alcohol in there, but there is an empty bottle which came out of the Norton Lake project at the beginning of the excavation, as well as you'll find some saffron that we had brought back from Dubai for each of you.
Yeah, those were the two things, because we wanted to bring something back, but we didn't know what. And the only thing of interest that you can find here, but you cannot find the way you find it there, is one of the highest qualities Iranian saffron. And so we brought back 5 grams in a container for each of you to share. It's a lifetime supply, by the way. It's not something we use all the time. And the other bottle, and the bottle that Mauro's talking about, is a Labatt's bottle that was pre-labeled. So we've dated that back to maybe the late 40s, early 50s. We found thousands and thousands of them on the ground, most of them broken. So we've taken some of them aside. We didn't polish them and clean them purposely to leave them in its original state. But it's something at least of value that you can keep and you can share. So I'd like to show you the video.
The Dubai International Award for Best Practices to Improve the Living Environment, now in its 18th year, has received around 4,000 submissions from a total of 140 countries all over the world. This year being its 9th cycle. There are 12 winners out of 391 submissions from 61 countries. And the winners are One, Kenya. Women empowerment in harsh climatic and social cultural environment. The project is implemented by an NGO called Womankind Kenya, Wakiki, based in Garissa in partnership with UNICEF, religious and community leaders. The project has demonstrated the life of people living in tough economic, cultural and political environment, especially tough on women and girls, can be improved through training in water resource management, food security and environment management. 2. The United Arab Emirates, UAE. Dubai Metro Red Line Best Practices is implemented by the Dubai Roads and Transport Authority, RTA. It is intended to result in positive public health, environmental and economic changes for the Dubai populace. The line was constructed to improve accessibility in Dubai, reduce commuting time, reduce traffic congestion and its related gas emissions, provide culturally acceptable, safe, reliable and affordable public transit systems as an alternative to the private car, and provides equal transport access to passengers with special need. This is a good practice that can be replicated within the Arab region. 3. Lebanon. Operation Big Blue Association, LBN 241. OBA is an NGO that seeks to analyze, protect and monitor coastal and marine misuse and degradation. They conduct cleaning campaigns on Lebanese shores to raise awareness, which is decreed as a national annual activity. It also encourages use of eco-friendly products and reform policies for better management of solid waste and sewage. OBA has been collaborated by the Ministry of Education to implement cleaning initiative into the official curriculum in 10,000 schools and is planning to form consortiums in all areas. 4. Cambodia. Revolutionizing rural market for sanitation. The program has revolutionized rural sanitation by moving away from a fully subsidized sanitation program to a market-based program. The project has demonstrated that private sector enterprises can profit from creating demand for sanitation and providing appropriately designed, affordable toilets. The project is implemented in 60 districts of Cambodia and has helped improve the quality of life in rural Cambodia. It is now being replicated in many other countries. 5. China. Linfen City Public Toilet Improving the Living Conditions and Human Environment. The Linfen City, with an area of 37 square kilometers of area and a population of 600,000, had only 12 public toilets before this initiative. This local government initiative was carried out in collaboration with various institutions with an aim to build a city of convenience to improve people's living environment. The initiative was successful in constructing toilets that met national health standards, incorporating cultural and environmental concepts, and establishing new standards for public toilets. The key challenge was changing the personal interests and traditional practices of the residents. These toilets are open and free to all residents and tourists. They record an average visit of 60,000 per day, with more than 100,000 users at peak hours. About 20 million people use these toilets per annum, and the public opinion survey rated satisfaction at 99%. World Toilet Organization recommends the Linfen's practice to other countries. 6. Spain. The City of Children. Children's participation as the basis for citizenship. Children are important members of any societies or cities. However, they are never given any political voice. This project from Madrid in Spain, supported by UNICEF, directly challenges this by giving the children a representation and involvement in policy making. This is a major innovation that strengthens democracy, citizenship, and policy making, and has already been replicated in Europe and elsewhere. 7. Portugal. Sports inspires me. Addressing those with major deprivations and social exclusion is a major challenge in many urban areas in Europe. This project in Lisbon, in Portugal, shows that sport can be a way to do this. Disaffected young people have been encouraged into sport, which has taken them off the street, reduced vandalism, and built their self-confidence and identity. This innovation has been cost-effective and a way to address social exclusion. 8. Brazil. Water Conservator, Extrema, Brazil. The idea of payment for environmental services is a useful new policy tool, particularly in water basis management, by paying those upstream to take actions that have significant impacts downstream. This project from Extrema in Brazil has been successful in encouraging the planting of trees upstream. This innovative project has become an exemplar in Brazil and is important in terms of lessening some of the potential consequences of extreme weather associated with climate change. 9. Uruguay. Program of Organic Vegetable Gardens at Schools. The program, being run in over 260 schools in rural, impoverished areas of Uruguay, brings together various goals of promoting good nourishment, imparting education with values, develop entrepreneurship, and encourage protection of the environment. With these objectives, the program, led by an NGO, has brought together various education authority of the government, private sector, and donor agencies. It has received wide-ranging support from students, parents, and teachers, and is now being extended as a local area development program. 10. Canada. Chapel View Apartments, Brampton, Canada. This initiative is a multi-residential affordable housing project with main priorities of efficiency standards and sustainability based on LEED, Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. This is the first platinum-certified nationwide multi-residential social housing project by the Canadian Green Building Council. The key merit is the annual energy savings that exceed $100,000 per year. The project also focused on enhanced design with standards superior to national standards for people with disabilities. Key merits include high energy efficiency, air quality, organic building materials, water conservation, and tenant education. The initiative is recently awarded the Energy Globe Award and 6 other local and national awards. Best Practices Transfer. 11. Burkina Faso. Affordable housing for Sub-Sahara Africa is implemented by Association La Voûte Nubienne, AVN, in partnership with Arquitectos Sin Fronteiras Association. The project has demonstrated that affordable housing and environment preservation in semi-arid regions can be promoted through the use of mud bricks and earth mortar that are assembled into arched, vaulted ceilings without the need for timber. It provides a better housing solution, reduces on tree cutting, and conserves the environment. This is a major innovation that reserves culture, environment conservation, and promotes training and employment opportunities to the local population. It can be replicated elsewhere in other parts of the world in similar situations. 12. Chile. Anteco para mi país. TECO, also known as Anteco para mi país, UTP-MP, a roof for my country, is a Chile-based non-governmental organization that was awarded the Habitat Scroll of Honor in 2009 for getting thousands of young volunteers, the private sector, universities and governments to raise awareness about slum conditions. This award for best practice transfer is in recognition of the fact that the initiative has mobilized over 500,000 volunteers, youth, professionals and civil society organizations to construct houses for more than 86,000 families in 19 countries. The project has had a major impact on the lives of the poor by giving them decent housing. Dubai Municipality and the UN Habitat wish to thank the participants, the Technical Advisory Committee, the jury and the Steering Committee for their continuous support towards the success of the Dubai International Award for Best Practices to Improve the Living Environment. In the end, when we consider all the submissions the Dubai International Award has received in its 9th cycle, we need to emphasize that everyone is a winner, because where best practices are concerned, no initiative is too small and all practices contribute to the advancement of the community and humanity as a whole.
So I guess as a whole, Mauro and I spent 10 days there, and we're fortunate enough because my niece works in Dubai, so we got to see quite a bit. But the interesting thing was that we met representatives from all of the countries. The Minister of Housing from China was there. We spent some time with the Mayor of Portugal, who was there. We spent quite a bit of time, and the interesting thing was that they look at your project and they say, oh my God, how did you do that? But then you look at all of the other projects and what they've done, and you can try and compare it with yours, and it's really, in a way, kind of uncomparable. But the total theme was improving people's lives, and I think that's what each one of these 12 projects have done globally and internationally, and spurred on a lot of enthusiasm to continue doing what we're doing. So it was a great trip, and I'd like to thank you guys for allowing us to share it with you.
We have a few speakers, and congratulations. I know we've congratulated you many times, and it's been so beneficial to have the opportunity to see this video, and thank you for sharing the full range of awards, because that's how we learn best practices, by being exposed to the way other people are doing things, and you have to be there to see that. Thank you. Councillor Pleshy.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. I'm going to stand if you don't mind. I'd like to say a few words, if I may. This was a project as president of Peel Living for a few years, and this was a project, an opportunity, and I had talked to John, and they have done other projects in social housing for the region of Peel, and an opportunity came about. And when we were having problems getting projects built, as you know, the government's cut back on funding for social housing. The federal government for a time got out of social housing, so it was difficult to get projects going. And through my discussions with John and Martinway and Morrow, there was an opportunity that presented itself, and I want to thank Martinway for coming forward with the idea that they did. If John Corbett will remember, he was Commissioner of Planning back then, and we talked about it, and there was the discussion. A lot of the downtown councillors know about finding another place for parking, and it was actually myself and former councillor Dick Metzak that we kind of took the bull by the horns and went to Mr. Corbett, and talked to him about a joint project that we would do a city parking with the region of Peel doing the housing on top. And we met a lot of resistance, both from the city and the region, because the region and the city had never done a joint project before. And I think through Martinway's help and through the commissioner's help, at that time the commissioner, the CAO now, we were able to convince both the region and city that this was a good thing. And now you see what's happened. We've received an awful lot of awards for this project, and I was extremely happy to be part sponsorship. You brought forward the idea of building a platinum LEED project, John, and talked to us about that. There was absolutely a difference in cost when you build a project like this. There was a $3 million increase in expenses to build it, and when money's tight at the region, and I try to make sure that we are tight at the region, especially as president of Peel Living, that we spend only what we have to spend. John went out and got sponsorship from the companies that were involved in the project. Maytag, I believe, was one, did a deal on the, donated, I believe, so many washing machines and dryers and that type of thing on the purchases. Benjamin Moore Paints was the paint for the building and that. So he went out and found $3 million, which was the shortfall in order to build a platinum LEED project. And what I like is that it's put Brampton, we all like to put Brampton on the map. And this was put Brampton on the map on the basis that we are the only housing project in North America to be a LEEDs program and a social housing program. Fine, you see big developments and lots of money spent on those for private development, but you don't see it in social housing. And we here in the region of Peel and the city of Brampton did that. And you are the guys that we should thank for it. Thank you.
Councillor Sanderson?
And thank you, Councillor Plushy. You touched on all of the most important points about the project. And I was brand new on council when this here project was raring, and I can tell you that it was not very popular to put something like that in the midst of downtown. And I'm talking about some of the neighborhoods and etc. And I got to tell you now, they're all so really surprised at what type of a project is, what type of a building it is. It allows for extra parking in that quadrant in the downtown. And it doesn't come easy. You guys really, really worked at that to get to where you are. And the way that you did it by going around to the existing neighbors and, playing ball with them and negotiating with them to get the job done was totally amazing. You did that all in a short period of time, and there was no upset people after the fact. It was just totally amazing how you did that. And I too want to congratulate you, and I would also like to suggest that you bring this to the region of Peel as well. And if you like, I'll give you some assistance on getting it on the council there. So thanks a lot to both of you.
Councillor Moore?
Thank you. Thank you for the beer bottle. A few years ago, when I was on the school board, they were doing some renovations at McHugh Public School, and when they went out, actually they were putting new playground equipment in. The school council had raised the money, and when they dug out the old playground equipment, they found hundreds of the little ink bottles ink wells that went in the desks. Remember, some of us in this room would remember when our desks had little holes in the top right-hand corner for putting your ink well. So it'll go with my collection of those. Thank you. That's the kind of things that really sort of remind us of our past, and a small gesture, but an important one. Yeah, I think you're in really good company. When we watched the video and we saw Cambodia on the video for some of the work that they're doing there. I have a nephew that's just returned after doing a 3-year research project, and he was telling me about some of the things that they are doing as a country to advance, into a more modern society there. Yeah, they've got a lot of miles to travel to get there, but even with the work that he was doing in the health community, he was over on a research project to study iron deficiency in the remote villages, and this is along that same. Anyway, so hearing his stories and seeing it on the video, you realize that you're really in good company with this award. I do have to tell you that you scared the daylights out of some of us when you were constructing the building. I can remember going into Commissioner Corbett's office when the panels were going on the building, and they were that gray, and I walked in and I said, John, look out to your left. And he looked and I said, please tell me we didn't approve that. And he said, I'll find out. And then he came back and said, they're actually going to paint them. And I went, this is just going from bad to worse. But I have to tell you, it was a new way of constructing buildings, one certainly I wasn't familiar with. And seeing the finished product, it really is a wonderful addition to our downtown, so thank you. And I do want to say as well, meeting a distinct demand in our community for affordable housing. We talk about needing more pedestrian traffic in our downtown to animate the downtown, make it safer, put people, walking the street, not walking the streets, but walking up and down our sidewalks and wandering into our retail establishments in our restaurants. It makes a difference, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor, and I just want to congratulate John also. And I do recall the hurdles that Councilor Palashi and all the efforts he put into it, and obviously it really paid off big time. It's a good story for Brampton. But I do have a question for you, John. Was this just a one-time project, or is this a new identity that you have now acquired, and your future projects will be similar in nature?
It's a really good question. I guess there was a lot of tension when when we decided to go to LEED Platinum. It wasn't the fact that we were going to achieve it. It was just a target. It's almost like, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. You're not necessarily going to lose it, but you're going to try. And it was just an attempt to try and get the LEED Platinum. We didn't know what kind of response we'd get from our corporate sponsors and whether or not they would play the game with us. And the way that we played the game is without transferring any money, so there was never any exchange of money. It was on a barter system. So whenever we needed something, we just asked them for an upgrade that would meet the LEED standards, that would allow us to capture the points that we needed to do that. So there was a lot involved, and it was also a real head toss for regional staff. I mean, not everybody agreed with what we were doing. Some of them did, but at the end of the day, it's a great project. We wanted to, after that project was completed, with the commencement of Snellgrove and Norton Lakes, since we had the template, we wanted to continue with that template. But there were a lot of fears on the regional side, so we best went back to the regular practices. But this type of construction practice, like Councillor Moore, you're talking about, painting a building. It's a lifetime warranty stain made out of Australia. Like, if you look at every different component, you really learn a lot about building techniques, and you learn a lot about building products, and you look at your own home, and you look at the way you live, and you go into a building like that, and half the things that building has, you don't even have in your own home. And it's not that you can't capture it, you can. It's just that we don't know about it. So there's a mindset of trying to change people's minds on, using that template and moving forward and just improving on that template. Because once you've got a template, then it's easier to replicate it than it is to fall back on your laurels and go back to the conventional way of construction, and then one day, sometime in the future, to do it. So the answer to your question is no. The other projects were not of LEED certification standard. It started off being that way, but then there was a little change in the track.
Well, at least through the chair, you know how to do it, so if the opportunity comes up again.
The interesting thing is that it's not difficult to do, and it's even easier to maintain. It's just that there's a fear when somebody is set and doing something a certain way. And we all are. We're all the same. We're all complacent in our own ways. But when there's a construction practice in place, hard to change, even though you know that the new way is the easier way and the better way. So we hope sometime in the future, if we do another project, that we can.
Great. Thanks very much, John. Thank you.
I want to add my congratulations for what you did. And from the sounds of the whole thing, and not repeating it, you threw a lot of heart and soul into that building, which in the final analysis has a great impact on people who concern me the greatest in this community, our seniors,
Right.
who have just retired, and perhaps to
Yes.
move into the typical accommodation is not within their realm. I think the fact that you were able to garner together corporate entities, and I applaud them as well for having participated in it, because that's not something you would have seen 20 years ago. The almighty dollar was the essence, and you to be applauded for that. I remember a couple times, I know a lot of the other councillors were very much more involved in this than I was, but I remember one particular, and I think Paul will probably remember it, where we sat down at a table, and there was
was some difficulty in getting something done. And it looked like this might be the end of the project. And because we worked with it, and I think everybody believed in it, and everybody believed it had a real purpose, it got resolved. You have another one over at Bramalea.
And Hanson.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that you're only thinking about doing another one, because I think you've got the knack of it, and there's certainly a tremendous need for it. You've seen the seniors that have, the numbers of seniors in this community is legion. Many of them are widows or widowers who that extra tax dollar that we impose on them, or the cost of doing things, becomes a very significant item. And really what you're doing is you're, in a sense, reaching out to something like Habitat. We're looking after, we recognize, all of us, that we live in a global society. We see it in these pictures that you produce for us, where there are people, some who are less fortunate, some are really less fortunate. And you have an opportunity not just to go home at night and think about what you've done, which is astronomical. I mean, to take on a project like that and expect to come up with all of the donations you got and all of the help you got must have kept you awake at night, I would think. So congratulations on my behalf, our council's behalf, and I'm sure on many of the seniors who are here today. What you did was good work.
Thank you. It's been an interesting road for us as a company, because for 25 years, almost 30 years now, 35 years in January, being just exclusive in affordable housing, we've seen a lot of things. We've been part of the programs. We've been part of the creation of the specifications for these buildings, but it comes with its blows and its punches too. I mean, you could do good on one end, and people always have suspicions of why you're doing what you're doing. And a typical example is we're the only responded to an RFP in the last 15 years at the Region Appeal to doing affordable housing, which gives you a real clear picture of people's intention of wanting to do this type of work. And no, there is, you don't get the same coin that you would get in a condominium. There's no way. There's got to be a certain drive and passion for you to want to do what you're doing. And on one way, it's good for us. On another way, we've experienced bad. One way is, well, why is Martin Way doing another project again? But on the other hand, is thank God we got Martin Way, because they're the only ones doing it. So, it's both sides of the coin. But it's been an interesting road for us, and we've had a tremendous good time over the last 25 years with the region and building it. We've seen changes in staff, and we've seen everything. And it's really has been tremendously satisfying for our families too. It's not just us. I mean, our families, my wife, my kids, and Mato's now got children, and everybody else in the family, we all get involved in these projects. We don't just, toss them and turn them like a regular construction project, and that's part of what we enjoy doing. And we like it. It's fun.
I wouldn't worry about it, because my observation of how seniors are growing and becoming a much greater force, the political side of it will be forced to do that. They should do it on a humanitarian side, but it takes a while to get used to that.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to see a lot more of this, and maybe your next job, or the next job someone else does, not only will it have the good feeling of having done something for these people, but will maybe easier to do, because you'll know the things you have to encounter.
Right.
But once again, congratulations. It was a long trip.
Thank you.
And a long hoe to hoe, but it's good for you.
Emirates Airline business class.
Yeah.
Totally different world. Thank you very much.
Good
Thank
for
you.
you.
Thank you very much, Council. We now move to the next announcement. It's 50 years of connecting seniors, and Irene McInnes is the chairperson of the 50th anniversary for celebrating seniors in Brampton. So Irene, please come forward. I am in receipt of, just a handful, and I'm sure more, of petitions, and I will read the petition and acknowledge receipt officially into the record after you give us your announcement.
Very well. Good afternoon, everyone. Mayor Fennell, members of council, and ladies and gentlemen. As the chairperson of an exciting event which will occur this year in our city, I have been designated to speak to you on behalf of the seniors in Brampton. With me are a number of our committee members from our city, and also seniors. If you would like to stand, please, the committee. I'd like to see who's on our committee. These people endorse and approve our plans. Okay. And did you know, and are you aware, seniors will be celebrating 50 years in Brampton? The Brampton Senior Citizen Club 106 was established in February of 1964. Since that time, many clubs have been established. The Brampton Senior Council currently has a membership of 57 affiliated seniors clubs. A committee has been put in place which consists of 13 members from various seniors clubs, retirement homes, plus professional business representatives. It is our intent to make this 50th anniversary celebration a very special event, which we hope will be remembered for many years. Only good memories, we hope. We have agreed to call this event the Golden Gala 50th Anniversary Celebration, Connecting Seniors in Brampton. This will also serve as our logo. The event will be a dinner dance, and it's to be held at the Flower City Seniors Recreation Center on Saturday, May 31st, starting at 5 p.m. for a bare minimum cost of $22.50 per person. The sale of tickets will be sold through the City of Brampton Recreation Centers. Tickets, believe it or not, are now available, according to Sharon Vanello. We are very confident that all 350 tickets will be sold. This event will be advertised in the Flower City 55 Plus Spring and Summer Guide. Posters will appear throughout Brampton advertising this event, and we are sending invitations out to many dignitaries. It is our committee's intent to have the very best of food, music, souvenir programs, plus a complimentary gift for all who attend, meanwhile keeping the price as low as we can. Now, at this time, let's get involved comes into play. We need and we want your support, whether it be sponsoring, ticket purchase, door prizes, assistance, advice, and of course, any monetary help you can give us. To date, we have received a monetary donation from the Brampton Seniors Club 106 and the Brampton Senior Council. We have raised over $1,000 from a used jewelry sale, and we are continuing to further our efforts for fundraising. We have submitted to the clerk's office a number of signed, as Mayor Fennell said, statements from many of the Brampton senior clubs consenting and endorsing this event. And on behalf of the seniors and the anniversary committee of Brampton, we thank you, and we are open for any questions. If I can't answer them, I have my committee with me.
Thank you very much. First, I'll go to Councillor Hames.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Mayor. Thank you for coming today, and I really appreciate everyone who came out with you to support what you're doing. The Seniors Club at Flower City is actually a phenomenal place to be. It's used so well in that community, and it just seems to be growing and growing as we move on. And I want to recognize Sharon Vanello. Sharon Vanello is, I'm not sure of your title, but I know you run that facility.
Angel on Earth, that's her title.
Yeah, she runs that facility with just great at what you do. She's very calm, very whatever seniors want, especially if Donna asks something. Sharon just very quietly goes on and gets whatever it needs to be done. So it's a fabulous place for the city, for the citizens in Brampton to be able to go to that place and have a really good time while they're there. Any of you who go there and you walk in, you can hear people speaking all the time. all talking to each other, all enjoying what's going on, and it's really a good sight to see. So congratulations to all of you, and look forward to being at the next Seniors Council.
Have a signed letter from all the seniors clubs, so council, here they are, and it says, please be advised that whichever club, they've all signed them, supports the Golden Gala 50th anniversary celebration on May 31, 2014 at the Flower City Seniors Recreation Center, and the connection all seniors have with each other in the city of Brampton. June is Seniors Month, and this event goes a long way towards recognizing the tremendous contributions seniors make to this city each and every day we celebrate the 50 years of activity and contribution made to the city, and we appreciate the support the city of Brampton has given and continues to give each and every day, and the president of all the clubs has signed them. So I'd like to move that these be officially received into the agenda, seconded by Sandra. And all those in favor of receipt, so they're now officially in the record. It's interesting that you talk about Club 106 forming in February 1964. I think you must have all been watching the Ed Sullivan Show, and the Beatles arrived in New York, and you were inspired. Anyway, isn't that something that you date back to February 1964, a date that resonates for many reasons. I look forward to working with you as the honorary participant and mayor of the committee. The date is Saturday, May 31. I did take notes. It's at 5 p.m. And because June is Seniors Month, it's important that this event go to June, which means to 12:05 or maybe 1 a.m., Donna, President Martin, because that way you'll kick off Seniors Month during this event. So we have to make it a full night. We look forward to it, and we look forward to participating, and we wish you all the support. And you know, we'd like to say we want to continue to support our Brampton seniors, and that's why in the 2014 budget we preserved the $1 cash fare for transit for our seniors. So there you go. Thank you very much. That's our hard support. Councillor Sanderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you to the seniors. Thank you very much for coming out today. I can't tell you how pleased I am to sit on the committee with you guys to put this together. It's just a great time. It's a lot of fun. Lots of ideas go around the table there, and a lot accomplished as well. But I do have to say that I'll certainly be there to support you all the way through. I'll do whatever I can to help promote, go out and get some prizes and etc. And I just want to see this a real success. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, Brampton seniors continue to show that they're full of life and energy, and they're always looking for new things to do. You did make a request from members of council to provide some support to you, and about 6 months ago, or even 4 months ago, you probably would have been very successful in having every single member of this council provide some support to you for your event. But unfortunately, life has changed, and for some reason, we've been under heavy fire for supporting community groups and local charities, which is something that I don't support, however. But I do believe that there could be an opportunity through Mr. Kudajar to apply for some funding to support this event. Is that correct, Mr. Kudajar?
Through you, Madam Mayor, that is correct. The City of Brampton manages a program called the Minor Charitable Donations Program, and we would be pleased to provide an application form, and I can work with Ms. Bonello through that process.
Okay, so I do think you will find that the municipality will provide some support to you. And I guess I was just adding up, and you were saying you hope to sell 350 tickets. You have 57 clubs. That means each club would Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us today, and I'm sure the municipality will help in any way they can.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councillor Pelletier?
Yeah, thanks. I just want to let you know that when you were talking about fundraising, the two gentlemen from Martinway looked over at me and went, so, no. Watch them fall off the bench. So they would like to donate, they're going to donate $500 to your event also. So that's one of your first corporate sponsors that thank you.
Oh, thanks for that. Councillor Callahan?
That, but I think the seniors in this city, there are so many of them, so many that need things to do, now retired, widowed, or whatever, that I think I'd be prepared, I'd be prepared to pay the 22 or whatever it was, or if that's not permissible because we have a gentleman sitting on the end of the pew there, then we'll have to do it the other way. But I think they're important enough to spend $22.50 to go dance with my wife. Actually, it'd be 44, I guess.
45, Bob.
Yeah,
45.
well, I'll let her pay. I'll do the dancing. But whatever way this happens, this should not be one of the ones that are under the veil of darkness. It's quite open. It's a major event. The commissioner is listening closely to this, I'm sure. He recognizes just how important our seniors are to us. And in fact, on the other side of the coin, the only thing that detracts from it is the fact that this happens to be an election year. And perhaps that should not be the process. So I'm going to pay my $44 or whatever it is, just to be on the safe side. 44. Well, I'm going to pay 44. I'm paying 44, and I'll knock on anybody's doors who's running. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. It looks like it's going to be a great day. Mark your calendar. It's $45 a pair of tickets, and no, 45, Bob. 22.50. Yeah. It's very nice, but yes, President Martin.
I just want to enlighten you that I wasn't a senior when the Beatles came out.
No, you're all young chickens saying, let's start a club. 106. There you go.
And we still are.
Yes, of course you are. Of course you are. So thank you very much for that announcement. And, you might find you need a venue even bigger than 300, or the seats that are available within that site. So maybe we can talk about where there may be opportunities for more people to attend if you feel the need outgrows the space that you have. I know there are other halls in town that have capacity for larger groups, if that's of any interest. Well, it's something that I can tell you I will personally look into, because I think, as Councillor Miles has said, just simply the number of clubs, if everyone just sends the executive, no one else would be able to go. So I know we had the annual picnic. We're finding larger and larger groups want to come, 10 people per club, 20 people per club. A 50th anniversary, you could have 50 per club. So, yes. Yes, line dancing. I love it. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for being here today. And we're just going to take a moment. We were remiss to not arrange a photograph with Mr. D'Angelo and his gold trophy and associated awards, and Councillor Pelletier has asked for that. So I'm just going to leave the chair for a moment to go and be part of that for John. Thank you. now move to the proclamations. We have just the one proclamation. And Deborah James, you are here to receive the proclamation. I would like to read it. It is with respect to National Flag Day of Canada, which is February 15. Whereas February 15 was declared National Flag Day of Canada in 1996, as it marks the day in 1965 when our red and white maple leaf flag was first raised over Parliament Hill in Ottawa and hundreds of communities across Canada. And whereas the distinctive red and white maple leaf flag of Canada is perhaps the most visible and cherished symbol of our country and the many blessings associated with Canadian citizenship. Whereas National Flag of Canada Day is a perfect opportunity to celebrate our flag and what it stands for, a dominion that is the envy of the world. Whereas the folds of our flag embrace all Canadians, as well as all shared values and confidence in the future of our country. Therefore, I, Mayor Susan Fennell, do hereby proclaim Saturday, February 15, 2014, as National Flag of Canada Day in the city of Brampton. It's dated today and it's corporate sealed, and perhaps I could pass that to you. Welcome. Would you like to make some comments? Welcome, Deborah.
Thank you. I do accept. And I'd like to thank you, Mayor, for having me today, Council, and the citizens of Brampton. I have brought you the original it's a copy of the original proclamation by Queen Elizabeth, so I'll leave that here for you. This is my passion. We need to bring awareness. We have this day. We have this day to honor our flag. I'm very proud to be a Canadian. We do flap our flag, sports events, mostly Canada Day, but what is Canada Day? That is Canada's birthday. So children are not taught this in school. Each year I've been taking this farther and farther and farther, and hopefully bring more awareness every year. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, and how very appropriate that it's happening at a time when our national team is representing all of Canada. There is no better symbol of the values of being Canadian than the tolerance of all peoples. And we're so proud whenever we see the Canadian flag being raised at the Olympic Games. We sing "O Canada" to start every council meeting. It's marvelous that we have this National Flag of Canada Day, and hopefully it inspires more people to have Canadian flags and fly them proudly as part of the fronts of homes and at events. So thank you very much. Councillor Moore.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Through you to Deborah, I can remember having a conversation with you, and
Yes.
Certainly the passion that you felt, that you felt in terms of the need for all of us to understand and appreciate February 15th. As you look at the date, you think how the provincial government missed a golden opportunity. They called it Family Day, which is great. It's wonderful.
Yes.
But it's so close to the day of National Flag Day that there was a real and legitimate, they didn't have to create something. We already had a day in February when they could have declared a statutory holiday. But, you know, it is close enough that the Family Day does really espouse the kind of values that we appreciate and enjoy here in Canada as a result of our flag in our country and the Charter of Rights. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope to see you here every year.
Well, it's not just this Saturday. It's not February 15th, just 2014. It's February 15th every year.
Yep.
I fly my flag every day. Not all do. Thank you.
Not a girl. delegations, and we have two delegations. The first delegation is the Honorable Donald R. Cameron. He is our Integrity Commissioner. The second delegation is Mr. Birdie for a subsequent item. So I will ask Mr. Cameron to please come forward, and I will bring forward the report I-3-1 and correspondence L1. Following this matter on the agenda, we move to the Office of the Chief Administrative Officer, which is the terms of reference for the forensic audit. And Mr. Birdie, you have been added as a delegation, and we would call you forward at that time. So first, we brought the report forward to deal with this delegation. Welcome, Mr. Cameron. Justice Cameron.
Thank you, Mayor Fennell, members of council. Don't be too tough on me, Councillor Callahan. I haven't judged you yet. Forget it. Ladies and gentlemen, I have submitted my report to council dated November the 20th, and it's coming forward today for your consideration. I don't propose to read it. I believe you have a copy here. It may be attached to the report to the City Council prepared by the clerk of the council, Mr. Peter Fay. We'd be glad to answer any questions. With me is Miss Jennifer Rosen. She is the person from ADR who is the intake and initial compliance officer.
Thank you, Justice Cameron. There are two motions before me, and they're both as printed in the agenda. And the revisions and the protocols were dealt with through a council workshop as introduced by the CAO as appropriate amendments to the protocols. And council had an opportunity last fall to discuss those, and I think that's what's now before us. So we'll now go to the board. Is that fair? You have no further presentation?
No.
You're here for questions. We have two at this time. Councillor Miles.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I did get a chance to speak to Justice Cameron there for a moment, because I was wondering how many complaints had actually been filed by how many individuals. I didn't know whether or not there was a number of repeat complaints. Certainly in the report that Justice Cameron submitted, there is one complaint that actually spanned 5 of us. And I was really interested in finding out how much it is actually costing the city of Brampton per complaint. And he basically told me that he wasn't able to provide that individual specific information. But I believe this is the 3rd year that you have represented us?
This is the 2nd year.
This is the 2nd year. Oh my God, see, the relationship seems so much longer than that.
Well, it's been 6 months since the end of the year, so.
Since the end of the year, that's true. And during the 2 years that you have convened investigations or adjudicated investigations, has there ever been a complaint that has been found of a member of council that has been found to contravene any code of conduct or any inappropriate actions?
I can't think of any offhand. My initial answer is no.
No. Okay, so that's exactly was my point, Justice Cameron. We have been doing this for 2 years. I mean, this year, $71,000 just for a simple review. Someone calls in and says, you know, Councillor Miles, I believe that, and I don't mind, it's public in the public record here, that claims in some way that that I was involved in the hiring of my husband, who is the executive director of Brampton Safe City. And quite frankly, I'm really tired of hearing this rumor and hearing the rumor perpetuated actually by other members of council. However, it was adjudicated, and of course it was found that in fact wasn't the case. So, you know, even though I do believe in transparency, I think it's really important that we're not wasting taxpayers' money, and that in fact, people have to be accountable for their actions. So I'm wondering, Madam Mayor, through you to the clerk or to Justice Cameron, is the municipality able to charge a fee to someone who might wish to file a complaint with the Integrity Commissioner? And it doesn't have to, but I mean, I'm looking at probably the least cost in any one complaint in the list in front of us was $1,700. So are we in fact allowed to charge a fee if someone wants to file a complaint?
Through you, Madam Mayor, without reviewing the legislation, the extracts from the Municipal Act in front of me, I don't recall there's anything in the legislation that would explicitly prevent a municipality from charging a fee. At the same time, I'm not aware of any municipalities offhand that do charge a fee for a complaint. But unless perhaps the Integrity Commissioner has more information on that.
Well, I think, sorry.
You go ahead, yes?
No, it's all right.
I'm not aware of any provision that says whether you can or cannot charge a fee. I would think that on the theory of this, it would be that the provincial government would not encourage the charging of a fee. This is supposed to be a situation where you may make your complaint, have it heard, and then have the hearing or have the situation determined.
So I guess then in your opinion, are you finding that a lot of the complaints are actually frivolous and vexatious?
I guess we'd have to say yes.
Yes, you have. So I guess that's the point. This is provincial legislation that the province has asked us to undertake, and certainly there was a lot of pressure on members of council to adopt a policy and have an integrity commissioner. And after 2 years, can anybody tell me how much we've spent already on this particular piece of legislation? And no reflection on your office or Artie Chambers, but I think that there's been considerable public funds spent on these investigations, and in fact, none have turned out to have any validity.
I may say that probably the total cost, including the investigative services provided by Ms. Rosen, would be about $95,000, about $24,000 on top of the 71. Oh, that's included in the 70? All right,
Okay.
sorry, 71,000.
71,000 is still a lot of money. Anyway, I would really like the municipality to consider a fee if possible. It doesn't have to be a large fee, but I think if an individual files a complaint, we did this with the legislation in regards to investigations around in-camera items. If someone wants to file a complaint about the municipality going in camera inappropriately, we did decide that we would levy a fee. So I would like to refer this item to staff. I don't mind moving the resolution, but I would like to refer it back to staff to investigate whether or not it would be, I guess it's up to council to determine whether or not it's appropriate. But I do think that if we're in charge of public funds and we want to ensure that public funds are not wasted, and you know what? I'm going to tell you quite frankly, and to anyone in the audience who may have filed a complaint against a member of council, it's not just the cost to ADR that we pay to ADR Chambers. It takes hours and hours of in some cases, our staff time and in our individual time to respond to these kinds of complaints. And if somebody has a valid complaint, that's one thing. But if somebody is just using the system to get at individuals because they have some kind of personal vendetta, then I don't believe that we as a municipality should be assisting that we should entertain some kind of a fee which might deter individuals from doing just that, wasting taxpayer dollars. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I believe I moved the motion.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Anderson, for being here today. I do have a couple of questions.
Cameron.
Cameron.
It's a Scottish name just the same.
Did I say Sanderson? Anderson, okay, Cameron, sorry about that. Well, well, thank you. Just not, I don't have specific questions on this year's report, but there has been two incidences that have come up this year that were related to the previous report, 2013, that I would like to ask question on, if it's permitted.
Through you, Madam Mayor, the report that's before us today is the annual report from June 2012
Right.
to June 2013.
Yeah.
From the Integrity Commissioner.
Right. Now, these incidents did occur this year in 2000 and, well, maybe they were in 2013. This is for the 2013 report, right?
This is for the report for the year ending June 2013.
Okay, so I'm okay then to ask this question then, because this applies to March of 2013. So, there was one complaint that you investigated, and it was in relations to some allegations that the mayor was using city funds to purchase tickets for gala and golf tournament. And in your conclusion, which was on page 21, dated March 7, 2013, you did say that I have found no evidence of the mayor using city funds to purchase tickets to the golf tournament or other private events for individual or organizations, or expenditures were not authorized, by council. No preferential treatment was given to any person advantage of private interest. It goes on to say that the city has a policy a corporate policy that allows the city to purchase tickets for cities for certain events, and the mayor's gala at that time was listed as one of those events. So, which was 2 tables for the cost of $4,000. Now, it came to light when our new manager took office that, in fact, the departments were all buying tickets or tables to the mayor's gala and the golf tournament. Substantial, added up to a total of about $174,000 that was going, that actually the departments were actually, the various departments were actually purchasing. And I don't know whether there's another policy anywhere that it would allow that?
I don't know, but it wasn't an allegation against a member of council here, and that's what I deal with.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to
Yeah.
allude to what Justice Cameron just said, the code of conduct applies to members of council. Conduct with respect to city staff is handled through the CAO with respect to the employee code of conduct.
Oh, I understand that. I understand. The question, you haven't heard my question yet. So I guess the question is, and the city staff can verify, if there was a policy in place that allowed that, fine. Although I don't believe that council changed any policies once it was actually the manager who put an end to that practice, and it never came to council for approval. So obviously, if it was a policy, usually a council policy, it would come before us to give approval, but we didn't do that. So I kind of question whether there was a policy in place or not. And if there was no policy that allowed staff, the various departments, to purchase tables. If there wasn't, then I don't know who authorized them to do that, but you know, you did say that you did a very thorough investigation in this allegation, and you know, I kind of was wondering if you did do a very good investigation, why this information wasn't uncovered when you.
I have no authority to investigate what a subordinate body of this council does. I have only authority to investigate what any one of the members of this council does.
Okay. But the complaint was that there was city taxpayers' money being used to purchase tables and golf games, and that was happening. Although the mayor did not do it directly, the staff were doing it. So
I don't know.
So you wouldn't be looking at that stuff?
No.
So maybe that's what. Oh, well, I don't know. I'm just asking a question here.
I could help you, Madam Mayor. The situation that you're describing came up approximately a year and a half ago, where it was indicated and identified where there was departmental purchases of tickets, and at that time, there was no staff policy dealing with that. And once we did deal with that issue, a policy was brought into effect to provide criteria and restrictions around that. And of course, this last budget process, it was eliminated altogether by council.
Okay.
What I believe you've read as the complaint was not a staff complaint, and as Justice Cameron indicated, he has no authority to address staff, only council. And the complaint was, as I read it, and as you have read it back to us, the alleged infraction was that the mayor's office was buying tickets, and of course, the results of the investigation were he could find no proof of that. So they're two disparate indications.
Well, I understand that, but you know, there's sometimes you know I heard that terminology. I watched a lot of these legal cases on TV. You know, there's guilt by association. I think.
Don't associate me with TV.
You know, I guess the question is, and to me, is it you know, there was allegations also that the mayor was pressuring some businesses to buy tickets, and you found no evidence of that. You say in here that there was no evidence that the mayor was pressuring. And I'm just, the first thing that came to my mind when I read it is, you know, was the mayor asking the staff to buy tickets to her gala, like the commissioners or the departments? And if she was doing that, because I can't see the commissioner just out of the top of their head, if there's no policy, they would say, well, you know, give me a table. I don't see how a commissioner, and all the commissioners are actually, all the departments bought tickets and tables, you know, so someone must have approached the staff to say, hey, buy some tickets, because I don't think that staff, if it was not permitted or there was no policy, would take the risk and go and say, you know, I'd like to buy a table to your gala, and I like to pay with the taxpayers' money from my account.
I said I found no evidence of the mayor using city funds to buy these tickets.
Well, maybe
that
not directly.
Had not been authorized
well,
by the council.
Maybe not directly, but to me, this would seem like it's almost an indirect.
Are you accusing the mayor of that? Would you like to
No,
file
I'm
a
asking
complaint
you.
with you? No, I haven't. I had no evidence of it.
Well, did you investigate that though?
There was no grounds to investigate that.
Well, there was a complaint that
Who
was lodged.
complained? Did somebody say Mayor Fennell went around to each of the department heads and say, you guys have got to buy 25 tickets each or there's going to be trouble? Did anybody say that to me? No.
Well, so you didn't uncover this.
I did not uncover any evidence of any surreptitious activity by any member of this council trying to put undue pressure on any subordinate.
But were you aware that this was happening?
No, I wasn't aware of it.
Oh, jeez. Okay. I'm going to the next question then. There was also another issue that came up, and it was to do with this piano, grand piano. And, you know,
that was back about 2007?
Oh, was that no, there was a complaint that was dated, what was the complaint? The complaint was just recently, but the complaint was to do with, the BSO was trying to take possession of this piano last year, I believe. It was last year, yeah, in 2013, because they claimed that it belonged to them. And in your judgment, you did say in
Which
that,
one are you referring
well,
to?
there's section 3, there was an allegation, inconsistent with public statement, line 36.
Could you tell
federal-
me on which page of my report this?
It's, oh, I don't have that particular complaint in front of me, but I did.
Is there any reference to it in my report?
This report here?
This report here, is there any reference to a piano?
No, not in this report.
Thank you.
But you did make a statement that, in your judgment, that the piano was, and that's actually, we got bombarded by this Michael Todd last year about this issue, and it was in the news. There was police involvement. It was kind of messy. But you did make a statement at one point that that this piano, you stated that this piano was purchased for the BSO.
Where did I say that? Where did I say it?
You said it on line 36.
Are the 36?
Page C119 of the report, in the 2000 and,
Through you, Madam Mayor, Councilor Sprovieri, perhaps for the clarity of Justice Cameron and Council, can you refer exactly to what you're referring to? I believe one of the complaints that perhaps the Integrity Commissioner reported on.
Yeah.
The rest of Council doesn't have that information in front of it. So what's before Council is the annual report, which is item L1 on today's agenda.
So we can't talk about the ones that you investigated?
If it relates to a matter for which is covered in the annual report, that may be a fair question, but the rest of Council and Justice Cameron don't have the information that you're referring to.
Yeah, sorry I didn't bring more copies of this, and I didn't bring the full report. But anyway, I was just trying to, I guess it's hard to remember all the things you did. You must do a lot of things. And it's too bad I don't have the full package here to refer to. I just made some notes in a hurry. But there was quite an issue, and you're on record as saying that, in your opinion, the piano was purchased for the BSO, and that's why they came in to take possession of it. Yeah.
Madam Mayor, actually, staff did look into that once the piano was attempted to be removed from the Rose Theatre. And we did investigate, and we found a receipt from the City of Brampton. We purchased the piano for the use of the City of Brampton and the Rose Theatre. And that was found out and approved documentation with final receipts from the piano manufacturer.
But, the information I got was that Mr. Todd claims that Mr. Cameron did say that the piano was purchased for the BSO.
For their use, Counselor, for their use at the Rose Theatre.
Yeah, well, it could be that small word in their use, but
words make a difference.
Yeah, certainly. But yeah, but going back to the other issue, which I have more information, full information. When you say you do a very thorough investigation, I would have thought that this would have come up in your investigation, but I guess I don't know to what extent. Maybe that's the reason why everything's been clear. That maybe we're just not approaching the investigations, or maybe they're not being. Maybe your scope is not the scope doesn't give you that.
Sir, I have to balance.
Yeah.
A thorough investigation.
Right.
With the question of cost.
Okay.
Am I going to spend $50, $75, $100,000 on investigating who owns a piano? Or am I going to ask a few questions to try and determine where the truth probably lies. And I'm not going to spend $50, $75, or $100,000. I will ask 2 or 3 people, ask for receipts, whatever, and I ask 2 or 3 credible people,
Right.
who are not associated with the complaint, and if they give me a satisfactory answer, I stop there.
Well, Mr.
I see no reason to continue on spending money.
Well, Mr. Cameron, I appreciate your approach, but again, you know, it's a very wicked world we live in, and you know, and we have, you know, I remember the football player down in the States. What was his name? L.A. Simpson or something. O.J. Simpson. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and if the glove doesn't fit, then there's no. Yeah. So anyway, but you know, there's a lot of ways to, and people are pretty good at coming with information and so on and so forth. So I mean, when you do an investigation, to me, you have to go all the way. Otherwise, don't bother, because anybody can tell you anything, and if they don't have the backing, and I mean, you know, just because they sound credible doesn't mean to say they are credible.
I have to make that assessment, and that's my job. I make the assessment, and I give my decision.
Right.
Now, if you want to give me 10 witnesses instead of 3, you go ahead and get me the 10 witnesses. But I'm not going to go chasing all over the town of Brampton trying to figure out who owns a piano.
When you have a receipt from the city of Brampton,
Yeah,
where they
well,
tendered it and
I'm more
bought it.
referring more to the gala tickets. You know, to me, this is really, it was out of, I think it was out of line, and I don't believe that anyone ever authorized. There was no policy, and I don't think that anybody ever authorized staff to buy this many tickets to the tune of $174,000 worth. That, from what I understand, is 75% of that went towards cost, and 25% went back to the community from some reports I read in the past. I think it was in the newspaper. I
There's
don't know
no
if it's
such
true or not.
factual report, Counselor.
Yeah, it was in the Star that.
Well, that's really reliable.
That 75%. Well, you know, I did look up the 2011 returns, and I saw in the I did see that there was a $750,000 gross take, and the $550,000 went towards expenses, and $200,000 went towards the groups. When you do the math, that works out to about 75-25. You know, so I mean, that's pretty easy to figure out. The math is just division and multiplications in that. So anyway, thank you very much for your comments, and I appreciate that.
Right.
Figures lie and liars figure.
Counselor Moore?
Madam Mayor, I want to speak on the report when we get to that. I don't have any questions of the delegation.
Counselor Callahan?
I'll take you away from the piano for a little while.
Thank you.
This may or may not be known by you, but our policy changed dramatically after we lost our revered city councilor or city manager. And she put together the policy. There's a principle, is there not in law, that the party who prepares a document the document is held against that person if it turns out that it wasn't what was meant. In other words, if something's in writing, that's relied upon by the people who wrote it. Is that a fair statement of the law?
It depends on the circumstances, but generally,
Well,
yes.
all right, let me give you a clearer example of that. After after our new city manager came in and disposed of, or at least made logically, the policy that this city would have, and discarded the policy that I can't remember her name had. But then we started to get into the question of a forensic audit based on certain of these policies, and some of them were like after everybody had signed on for a particular type of situation. For instance, I got the Star newspaper, and the Globe and Mail, and suddenly that disappeared for some reason.
What do you mean, what disappeared?
Well, I couldn't do it anymore. It became taboo, okay?
You Couldn't get, oh, I see,
Yeah, I
yes,
couldn't get
yeah.
it, I couldn't
You had
get
to
it through
cancel
my,
your
couldn't
subscription.
get it
to
through
it.
my discrepancy
Discretionary.
fund, okay? And, yeah, and I was told the reason I couldn't do that was because we got a copy of that in the office every day. Well, I never saw it in the office every day. It only started to come about after this decision had been made. So, for instance, and I said to my colleagues, I said, I'm here as a citizen and a representative of the community, and it's important for me to be abreast of what's happening in that world outside of the little cocoon of Brampton, and I do that by reading the newspapers. Well, of course, I was denied that. You can't do that. Okay, that's the first one. Second one was the policy of the city at that time was that you got paid for your auto expenses, and subsequently that was determined to be that you couldn't take the car outside of the city and use the 407, or you were in breach of the policy, which to me makes no sense. Why give a car and instructions unless you're going to tell them specifically that that's the rule? They never did tell us that. No
Now,
one.
this happened after August 31st of last year?
Oh, yeah.
Cameron, all of this conversation has absolutely nothing to do with the reason you're here today.
I know.
They are discussing upcoming changes. Should there be violations of upcoming changes once policy, then there could be people complaining to you if they think there's a violation of some new policy, but it has absolutely nothing to do
If you
with
waited,
the
Madam
reports
Mayor, with
here
all due
today.
respect, if you waited, I would get to the nub of the question. The nub of the question is that when you present a policy to a municipal councillor who signs on, he or she signs on, and it seems to them that this is what these terms mean because it was put together by the city staff that do that kind of stuff. And they carry on that way, and suddenly, it's all changed. Now, that to me is a clear violation of the ability of a counselor for him or her to do their job properly because they signed on with specific events. Now, would you agree with me that that's not the kind of way you work?
It doesn't make the rules. Sorry, Justice.
I'm trying to figure out, I'm reporting on the activities of ADR for the period, for the year ending June of 2013.
Okay.
Your former city administrator was terminated toward the end of August last year, was she not? Now then, you have a new city administrator who brings in some new policies. And then you want to ask about what's going to happen in the future?
No, it's not in the future, it's in place. That's what I'm getting at. And I'm not blaming this on anybody specifically. What I would like to know is if you give a kid a swimsuit and there's a sign at the river says don't go swimming and he goes swimming, the whole thing has been lost. Well, I'm saying that this very much is the case here, that certain things were said to people who signed on as council members and turned out afterwards that, maybe it won't be in this forum, but it'll be in another forum, that they should have assumed that if we give you a car, you don't use the 407 unless you're going outside the city. If you want to get the Globe and Mail and the Star, you can only get it if it's within your expense account, which we've discovered may not even been the appropriate forum because it was taken out of the new policy. The new policy's in place, by the way. Now, would you agree with me that that makes the job of an elected representative that much more difficult? Maybe not impossible, but certainly much more difficult.
If you can't read your papers every day, that makes your job more difficult.
All right, and how about taking your car?
If you can't take your car outside the city and drive on 407 while you're doing it, that makes your job more difficult.
If you're doing your
If
job.
you're doing it.
If you're doing your job, that's right. You need the tools to do the job.
That's right.
That's right. And if you have the paper at
Is
the
the
office
mayor,
and you're paid
with
to
all
be
due
here.
respect, Madam Mayor, I always like to give you your due, but I'm trying to get my due if I could. And I think
Well, it's much ado about
Justice
nothing.
Cameron, I think Justice Cameron has agreed that those are difficult parameters to deal with if the original doctrine that was set forward is interpreted in a different way later on. Okay. Sorry?
Members
Members of council, through you, Madam Mayor, just for clarity, the item on the agenda today is the annual report of the Integrity Commissioner from June 2012 to June 2013, and the report of the investigations and activities of the Integrity Commissioner during that period. There are other provisions in the city's contract with the Integrity Commissioner that if members wish to seek the advice of the Integrity Commissioner on other matters, they can choose to do that. The purpose of today's meeting is to talk about the annual report and receive the annual report. The boundaries are being pushed quite a bit here. My advice to you, Madam Mayor, in that this is not a forum to start asking advice of the Integrity Commissioner on matters for which he does not have all the facts. There are policy decisions that council's made with respect to the 2014 budget, which is information that the Integrity Commissioner may or may not even know about. So questions are being asked of him for which he probably doesn't have the proper information to provide advice or answers.
That's fair. But I have one final question. I'm sorry? One final question. Just give me a second because I got caught right off it. Well, if I have leave to come back and ask that question, I would ask it. At the moment, I can't think of it. The mayor, I think, honestly wanted to get something out. She got it out, but unfortunately, it threw me off whack. I'm sorry?
That's it. Blame the mayor. That's it. That's the sport
I
we're in.
didn't blame you of anything, Madam Mayor, at all. In fact, I thought I was very
Let's move along, shall we?
appropriately kind to you.
Councillor
Oh, I know
Moore
what it
has
is.
a
It finally
question.
came. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Dear God in
I
heaven.
do recall in your first report, after you exonerated the mayor, you went on to add a further possible relief that could have been gotten by bringing an application under the Municipal Act to declare whatever it was alleged the mayor had done, that she could be removed from her seat. Do you remember that?
That she could be removed from?
Yeah, from her seat under the Municipal Act. Assuming the allegations were correct, and I have no way of knowing whether they are or not. But that, I suggest to you that if we bring that document forward, it should have in it a second suggestion that Your Honor made, which had it been followed, may have saved a lot of this stuff. And nobody here took you up on it. But you did put that in the report, as I recall.
I'd have to see the report.
Well, maybe you could reduce that, because I distinctly remember it, and I remember telling a couple of my clients, I said, look, if you want to bitch, you better be sure that the decision made by the commissioner is in its totality. And I pointed out that second part of it, and I said, if you want to take steps, that's perhaps where you would be more inclined to take it. And I think that would give a full substance to your direction to us as the Integrity Commissioner. Does that sound fair?
I don't recall it, sir.
Well, I'd like that document to be made available. Obviously, we were told that coming before council was going to be the report. And if you haven't got the full report with you, how can we, I mean, I'm not saying you're hedging.
I have the report dated November the 20th, dealing with the 1 year.
Could I see that, please?
This is this report.
That's the first report.
No, this is the second report.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I think Councillor Callahan, you were referring to probably a matter that was the subject of the Integrity Commissioner's first annual report,
Yes,
which
and
was
where-
presented to this council and is not the subject of today's debate. That was presented to council in August of 2012.
2012.
Yeah, 2012.
Well, if that's the case, what I've put forward would not be relevant in this case. But I believe it was the second report. I'm almost certain of it, because I looked at it and I thought, well,
This is the second report.
he's exonerated the mayor, which is fair game, and God love you, Mayor. But at the same
A lot of the mayor, any activity of the mayor's took place way before you passed your code.
I think if you look, at the document, you'll see what I'm talking about. No, got that report, but that doesn't say it. There was one before that. This was made by, there's no date on it that I can find. Well, we'll have to look up for the document, because I'm almost certain that, and I'm not espousing anything inappropriate to the mayor. She got exonerated, that's fine. But there was a secondary limb that could have been taken had the parties decided to do it, and they didn't. So it went by the board.
Can we move on, Councillor?
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Moore, did you want to go back to a quick question?
I do, as it turns out, I do have just a quick question. Do you have any files currently before you, complaints that you are working on or investigating?
Yes,
Any outstanding? How many?
I'm not going to tell you. I'll let you know when I report to you. And if I cancel the investigation because there's no further need to report, then I will not report.
Okay, I think you'll understand why I'm asking the question. I'm not trying to, seek out information other than I do have an amendment to the motion. Or an amendment to the staff report which is why I didn't have a question specifically of you, but there may be a question related to any files that you have that are currently open. So, okay, thanks. I guess we'll cross that bridge when we discuss the staff report. Thank you.
Councillor Miles?
Yes, I do have an amendment here to the motion, but I would like to know how much, because I've included a whereas phrase before the amendment to the motion, I would like to know how much money has been spent by the municipality on setting up an office of the Integrity Commissioner and the annual fees.
Through you, Madam Mayor, staff will look that up right now, but there's been 2 annual reports, this being the second from the Integrity Commissioner. And I'm going from memory, but we'll verify that because all the reports are online, publicly available. With this cost of approximately $70,000 and then some, I believe the first annual report had a similar annual cost.
I think there were additional setup charges, and then it was our costs reduced as a result of having all the preliminary work in place. So there was considerable cost to the municipality to actually get things in place, which makes sense. J.D. Chambers and Associates is a reputable law firm, and they have provided excellent service to the municipality. But the reason why they provided that services is because of complaints. And it does concern me that I'm guessing, but I think it was about $250,000 to $300,000 to set up, and then our annual cost. Is that too much?
That sounds like an awful lot of money.
Okay. So I would like to know the actual amount, and perhaps we can insert it in the amendment to the motion. But my motion will read, whereas X amount of taxpayer dollars has been spent on investigations through the Integrity Commissioner, and whereas all complaints have not found any inappropriate breach of conduct by any member of council, therefore be it resolved that staff be requested to investigate the appropriateness of charging a fee for persons filing a complaint with the Integrity Commissioner regarding a member of council in relation to the Council Code of Conduct, and that staff report back to Council accordingly, including possible options for charging fees. And I really have in mind some... It's an amendment to the report. I've moved the report, and Councillor Hames has seconded it. And in the same way as that we have made some changes to sort of the policies around the report, I would like us to take a look at doing this. I don't think that the taxpayers of the city of Brampton should be continuing to incur costs of a frivolous nature. So perhaps we could get that amount, whatever sum is. It's got to be around $200,000 at least total.
Through you, Madam Mayor, we've checked, and the cost for activities of approximately $127,000, which included some of the initial setup and then dealing with the investigations which had been filed and necessitated a report and investigation from the Integrity Commissioner in that first year of operation.
So 127 plus the 72.
Approximately, yes.
Okay, so that would, 72, so 200,000. So if you could put 200,000 in that particular amendment to the motion.
The next speakers, I was just conferring with the clerk. You know, when you file your election expenses, the legislation by the province says people who believe there's an infraction can challenge for a compliance audit. The provincial legislation goes on to say, in the event there's no finding of fault, that the person who brought the complaint pays for the cost, may pay for the cost of the forensic audit or steps taken. When the province introduced this legislation, the province were silent on the legislation that the province could have written saying, in the event that a complaint is found, no finding, or some words to that effect, that the cost, the investigation would be incurred by, there's no language to that. And I think municipalities have then been reluctant to demonstrate that there's any, we're putting up any roadblocks to applying for or asking questions of the integrity of the members of council. So it becomes very difficult to say if you're going to have a fee, under what circumstances and how large should it be, etc. So those are all the considerations why when we brought this forward originally, I think it was a no fee. There are situations where we have fees for inquiries, for applications, for permits, and so on. But for now, for FOIs, for example, there's a modest fee. But there's, I'm not sure how we would do this. You're asking for a staff report come back with?
I'm asking that, in the same way as staff brought forward a report with some recommendations, the very same thing. It would appear that this particular piece of legislation is costing not just our municipality. I'm a member of the Code of Conduct Committee at the Region of Peel, and I can tell you that Councillor Sato from the City of Mississauga was very vocal about the costs that they are incurring around the complaints being filed in their municipality in regards to individuals who, anybody who wants to, has an axe to grind really, or has a personal vendetta against another individual, can come and file a complaint against the Integrity Commissioner at considerable cost to the taxpayer. And so they too are starting to take a look and question as to whether or not we've been handling this in the best way possible. Certainly when we asked the question at the Region of Peel, they felt that it was possible for a fee to be charged. You can just imagine, Madam Mayor, if both at the city and the Region of Peel, members of council have could be spending huge amount of time and resources just simply trying to respond to frivolous complaints. And anybody can do that. I mean, I'm not saying, I don't think I'm saying anything out of line. We always are in the public eye, and we are always open to scrutiny, and that's fine. I have no problems with standing up for any decisions that I make, any comments that I make, but this particular piece of legislation allows individuals to malign members of council and make our life very difficult just because they want to. So, I really probably am not articulating this the way I want to, but I think you get my meaning, and there needs to be something. If if a member of council does something wrong, then they should be brought to task for that. I absolutely agree. But is the system that we have that has us running around in circles trying to provide information that on supposed misdoings or misdeeds by members of council, I just don't think it's appropriate.
Madam Mayor, I can make some inquiries of the other integrity commissioners in Ontario, whether or not any of them are aware of any charge to a complainant for the purpose of filing a complaint.
I think we should take a look at it.
Is that how your motion's worded?
Well,
not
my
sure.
motion just says, like, let's take a look at it and give it consideration. That the clerk wrote the part about the action, and I wrote the whereas. So really what I'm asking is just let's take a look at how we can better manage the whole issue of an integrity commissioner so that we're not wasting taxpayers' dollars. That's the bottom line.
So that staff be requested to investigate the appropriateness of charging a fee for persons filing a complaint with the Integrity Commissioner regarding a member of council in relation to the council
Period.
code of conduct, et cetera, et cetera.
Period.
So, and they'd have to have some parameters around that, like in the event the person is,
Well, they can bring that back.
so you're looking for a process, could we say that it's, looking at what other municipalities are doing to get a sense of that? Because, this is saying just, sort of find a good fee and do it, and I'm a little reluctant to, move in that direction.
I know the city of Mississauga, or I guess it's not fair to say the city of Mississauga, but certainly Councillor Sato was very vocal, and the Brampton Guardian, I know Peter's up there, and he was at our meeting and actually wrote the article. She was very vocal about their rules-based code of conduct in the city of Mississauga, and that it's really tying them up in knots.
Yeah,
And
they said ours was better.
was very, leaned very closely to a rules-based code of conduct like we have here in the city of Brampton. So, values-based code of conduct that we're using. So I don't think we have any issues with the code of conduct, but what we have here is a situation, I'm not gonna talk anymore, you know what I'm saying. Thank you. Sorry, thank you. Blah, blah, blah.
Councillor Palashi.
Well, I'm going to take issue with a couple of things that were, and I'm going to go off topic slightly because, first, I'm going to stay on topic. Just wait. I'll do an Ellen Mitchell. I'll stand up. And remember when she did, they tried to stop her one time. To Councillor Callahan, I know exactly the one you're talking about, and I know the report that you're talking about. And the issue was that there was no wrongdoing. The result was of the investigation, no wrongdoing. There was an explanation that a person has another option if they want to. Has nothing to do with the Integrity Commissioner. It was if they want to go through the courts and sue somebody, and if it's found that they are found guilty, the person they're complaining about, there was the options: a penalty, a removal of office, a taking away of salary, I think was one of them, or some suspending salary. Those were the issues that were done, and it's actually, I remember reading about it in Toronto on a case with the mayor there, and that was where the options that it went through before the courts. That had absolutely nothing to do with your position, other than this council, if the person is found guilty, those are options that this council can make, I believe.
You have to be careful. You must
Yes.
not compare Toronto to Brampton.
No.
For more ways than one.
Yeah,
But
right,
one of the
right.
reasons is Toronto has special legislation.
Right, okay, and I understand that. There was the options if a person is found to be in contravention, a council member, there are those options. There was the suspension, under the municipal conflict of
If there's a
interest.
wrongdoing, but
Yeah, if there was a
then you're done.
wrongdoing, but there wasn't any. On the issue of Councillor Sprovieri's comments about the gala and that, let's be fair. Staff members did not just go to those. Staff members went to your golf tournament, staff members went to the arts golf tournament, staff member went to the Safe City Golf Tournament. So it's not just the mayor's tournament, and that there was no policy, and that's what the CAO came in and brought in a policy and stopped the practice and said, there is no more of going this type of thing that you can just go where you want to. So it wasn't just the mayor. Like, I'm not going to defend the mayor. The situation is, she will defend herself, and through complaints that go through, if there's found to be wrongdoing, then there's consequences. If there isn't, it's over and done with. And that's why I believe the judge said, he does not report on every one of the complaints until he has researched the complaint and saw whether it was worthwhile to carry forward, I believe, on an investigation. I believe that's what the policy we set up in doing that. So there's no reason for him to tell you every time a complaint comes in if it's frivolous. I have 2 complaints against me in this report here, type of thing. And they were found both. And unfortunate or unfortunate, they had to do with the Rose Theater and the Rose Orchestra issue and the comments that I made. And I was cleared on those issues, and that they were found to be, I don't think they say frivolous. You don't say frivolous, but there was no foundation in that to carry them forward. So let's be fair to everybody around this council table here. Staff have gone to all our events. I used to hold comedy nights for the hospital, fundraisers. Staff bought tickets and came to that. I didn't go around and tell staff you had to buy them. Did I? No, I didn't. So, but I mean, staff support all the events that we have, and it's because of the events that's happening. So, thank you.
I'm going to offer both of you to take a seat. You've been standing for well over an hour. There are 2 empty chairs. Please take a seat. And well, we're going to continue going. They're not leaving. I'm just allowing them the courtesy of sitting down. We can remember to be courteous, I'm sure. If you want to sit a little over here, Justice, because that podium height will not allow you to be on the camera. We want to see your face. The next speaker is Councillor Sprovieri.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor, and I appreciate Councillor Pellecci's comments on that. And yeah, myself and some other members, we all sponsor different golf tournaments, and I have seen staff, but usually, from my understanding, the city purchases 2 sets or 2 tables, and if it's not filled by council members, then staff are given the opportunity to use them up. And that was my understanding. I also saw staff on a number of occasions that were actually invited by businesses to golf with them, and the business bought the table or the package of golf tickets. So, yeah, and whether they actually, I don't recall Marty ever, when I look at, she sends me a list of all the people who, because one of the sponsors, of all the people who buy tickets, and I've never saw any of the commissioners' names buying a block of tickets. So but that can be verified. I think that when the audit is done, I think that's probably the proper place